Here's your script. If you're over 70, or you love someone who is, the way you walk right now could be quietly telling doctors more about your lifespan than your blood pressure, your cholesterol, or even your diet. There's one simple change to your walking pattern that researchers say can reduce falls, protect your independence, and in some cases, add years to your life. It sounds too simple to be true, but by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what this change is, why it matters so much after 70, and how you can start doing it today, even if you've never thought about how you walk a single day in your life. Stay with me, because the second half of this video covers a mistake almost every senior makes without realizing it. And fixing it could be the difference between living independently for another 20 years or losing that independence far too soon. Welcome back to the podcast. If this is your first time joining us, this is the place where we take real research on aging, longevity, and senior health, and turn it into simple, practical steps you can actually use in your daily life, without confusing medical jargon and without unnecessary fear. Today, we're talking about something so ordinary that most people never give it a second thought, and that is walking. We've all been doing it since we were toddlers, so it seems strange to think there's anything left to learn about it. But it turns out, the way we walk changes as we age, often without us even noticing, and those changes can be one of the earliest warning signs of bigger health problems down the road, including falls, frailty, cardiovascular issues, and even cognitive decline. So today, we're going to break down exactly what doctors and researchers are seeing in senior gait patterns, what the one simple change is that could genuinely save your life, and how to start making that change starting today. Let's start with why walking matters so much more after 70 than most people realize. Walking isn't just a way to get from one place to another. It's actually one of the most complex movements the human body performs. It requires balance, muscle strength, joint flexibility, coordination between your brain and your muscles, and good cardiovascular function to keep everything fueled with oxygen. Because walking depends on so many different systems working together, doctors and researchers have started using gait, which simply means the pattern and style of how someone walks, as a kind of window into overall health. In fact, several major studies have found that walking speed alone can be a strong predictor of longevity in older adults. Slower walking speed has been associated with higher risk of falls, hospitalization, and even mortality, while people who maintain a steady, confident walking pace tend to have better outcomes as they age. This is exactly why some doctors now refer to walking speed as the sixth vital sign, right alongside blood pressure, heart rate, temperature, breathing rate, and pain level. So now let's get into the one simple change that researchers say can make a real difference. And that change is this: taking shorter, quicker steps instead of longer, slower strides. This might sound completely backwards at first, because we're often taught that a strong, confident walk involves big, powerful steps. But here's the problem with that thinking when it comes to seniors specifically. As we age, our balance systems naturally become less reliable. Our muscle strength, particularly in the legs and core, tends to decline, and our reaction time slows down. When someone takes long strides, especially seniors, their center of gravity shifts further outside their base of support with every single step. This means if they stumble, trip on an uneven surface, or lose their balance even slightly, there's less time and less stability to correct that mistake before a fall happens. Falls, as most of us know, are one of the leading causes of injury, hospitalization, and loss of independence in adults over 70, and a huge percentage of those falls happen during ordinary walking, not during dramatic accidents. Shorter, quicker steps completely change this dynamic. When you take smaller steps, your feet stay closer to your body's center of gravity throughout the walking motion, which means your base of support remains more stable at all times. If you do stumble or hit an uneven patch of sidewalk, your body has a much easier time recovering because you're not overextended with each stride. Physical therapists who specialize in senior mobility often teach this exact technique to patients recovering from falls, hip surgery, or balance issues, and many patients report feeling significantly more confident and stable almost immediately after adjusting their stride length. It's a small mechanical change, but it has a massive impact on overall stability and fall prevention. Now, here's an important detail that connects directly to what I mentioned earlier about the biggest mistake most seniors make without realizing it. Many older adults, once they start noticing they feel less steady on their feet, unconsciously respond by doing the exact opposite of what actually helps. Instead of shortening their stride, they slow down dramatically and often widen their stance, thinking that a wider base will make them more stable. While a slightly wider stance can help in some cases, dramatically slowing walking speed combined with overly cautious, shuffling steps actually increases fall risk rather than decreasing it. This is because shuffling reduces the natural swing phase of walking, meaning the foot barely lifts off the ground, which dramatically increases the chances of catching a toe on a rug, a curb, or even a slightly uneven floorboard. This shuffling gait, which doctors sometimes refer to as a senile gait or cautious gait, is actually one of the clearest visual signs physical therapists look for when assessing fall risk in older patients. So the goal isn't to walk slower and more cautiously. The goal is to walk with shorter, quicker, more confident steps while still lifting the feet properly with each stride. Let's talk about why this particular walking pattern doesn't just prevent falls, but may genuinely contribute to a longer, healthier life overall. When someone maintains a steady, efficient walking pattern with shorter, quicker steps, they tend to stay more physically active overall, because walking feels safer and less exhausting. This creates a positive cycle where staying active helps maintain muscle mass, cardiovascular health, bone density, and even cognitive function, since walking has been shown in multiple studies to support blood flow to the brain and may play a role in reducing the risk of cognitive decline and certain forms of dementia. On the other hand, when someone becomes fearful of falling and starts avoiding walking altogether, or drastically limiting their movement, this often leads to a rapid decline in muscle strength, cardiovascular fitness, and balance, creating exactly the kind of frailty that makes future falls even more likely and more dangerous. This is sometimes referred to by researchers as the fear of falling cycle, where fear leads to reduced activity, which leads to weaker muscles and worse balance, which leads to greater fall risk, which increases fear even further. Adjusting stride length to feel more stable can be one of the most effective ways to break this cycle before it even begins, allowing seniors to stay confidently active instead of retreating into a more sedentary and ultimately more dangerous lifestyle. It's also worth mentioning arm movement, because this connects directly to stride length and overall walking stability. Many older adults, without realizing it, stop swinging their arms naturally while walking, often keeping them close to their body or barely moving them at all. Natural arm swing actually plays an important role in counterbalancing the rotation of the hips and legs during walking, which contributes to overall stability and rhythm. Physical therapists often encourage seniors to consciously practice a natural, relaxed arm swing alongside shorter steps, because the combination of these two adjustments creates a much more balanced, coordinated, and stable walking pattern overall. If you watch confident, healthy walkers of any age, you'll notice their arms move naturally in opposition to their legs. And this isn't just about aesthetics, it's a functional part of how the body maintains balance during movement. Now let's talk about how to actually start making this change if you're someone who wants to improve your walking pattern starting today. The first step is simply becoming aware of your current walking pattern, which most people have genuinely never paid attention to in their entire lives. Consider asking a family member to record a short video of you walking naturally down a hallway or sidewalk, since seeing yourself walk from the outside often reveals patterns you'd never notice just from how it feels internally. Pay attention to your stride length, whether you're lifting your feet fully off the ground with each step, and whether your arms are swinging naturally or staying stiff by your sides. Once you have a sense of your current pattern, start practicing shorter, quicker steps during a normal walk, ideally in a safe, familiar environment like your home or a quiet sidewalk, focusing on lifting each foot fully rather than shuffling. and allowing your arms to swing naturally with each step. It's also worth mentioning that strength training plays a huge supporting role here, because shorter, quicker steps require good muscle activation in the legs, hips, and core to execute properly and safely. Simple exercises like sit-to-stand movements from a chair, calf raises, and gentle balance exercises like standing on one foot near a stable countertop can all help build the strength and coordination needed to support this improved walking pattern. Many community centers and senior fitness programs offer balance and strength classes specifically designed for older adults, and joining one of these programs can provide both the physical benefits and social connection that further support healthy aging. If you have any existing balance issues, a history of falls, or diagnosed conditions like Parkinson's disease or peripheral neuropathy, it's especially important to work with a physical therapist directly, since they can assess your specific gait pattern and provide personalized recommendations rather than general advice like what we're discussing today. I also want to address something important before we continue, because this information is meant to educate and inform you about general research and expert recommendations related to walking patterns and healthy aging, but it is absolutely not a substitute for personalized medical or physical therapy advice. Every single person's body, mobility level, and health history is different, and if you have concerns about your balance, your walking pattern, or your risk of falling, the best and safest thing you can do is talk to your doctor or a physical therapist who can properly assess your individual situation. Please don't attempt any new exercise or walking technique without first considering your own physical limitations and consulting a professional if you have any underlying health conditions. Let's bring this all together, because I know we've covered a lot of ground today. The one simple change that could genuinely help protect your health and independence after 70 is shifting from long, slow strides to shorter, quicker steps, while still fully lifting your feet off the ground and allowing your arms to swing naturally. This small adjustment helps keep your center of gravity more stable, reduces your risk of falling, and helps break the dangerous cycle of fear, leading to reduced activity, leading to greater frailty. Combined with simple strength and balance exercises and guidance from a physical therapist if needed, this change in walking pattern could be one of the most impactful things you do for your long-term health and independence as you continue to age. Now, here's what I want you to do right now, before this episode ends. If you found this valuable, hit that like button and subscribe to the podcast, because we release episodes just like this one every single week, covering real research on aging and senior health broken down into simple, practical steps anyone can use. Drop a comment below and let us know. Are you someone who takes long strides or short, quicker steps? And are you going to try adjusting your walking pattern after listening to this episode? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from this community. If you know a parent, grandparent, or older friend who could benefit from this information, please share this episode with them, because something as simple as this could genuinely help protect their independence for years to come. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. Take care of your health, take care of your steps, and I'll see you in the next episode.